Nasadiya Sukta, also known as the Hymn of Creation, is the 1929th hymn of the 10th mandala of Rig Veda. It is concerned with the cosmology and the origins of the universe. Nasadiya Sukta begins with the statement, "Then there was neither existence nor non-existent." It ponders over the when, why, and by whom of creation in a very sincere contemplative tone, and provides no definite answers. Rather, it concludes that the gods too may not know, as they came after creation, and that even the supervisor of creation in the highest heaven may or may not know. Okay, so,
If you go down,
huh? And this is
if you
part
go,
of the Vedas.
if you, yes,
Mm-hmm.
very much so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
I'm so
Let
happy
me
when I see this way.
you're so happy. Okay, let me tell you something. Okay, let me ask you a question. Okay, if I told
Yeah.
you, tell me, like, do you like freedom of expression? Do you believe in freedom of expression? Do you think that's a good value?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, so the value that
Oh,
these Vedas were promoting, that I like and I think you like, is skepticism, right? This is why you like this. This is something I agree that this is definitely Hinduism. The other thing that you showed me, the Sharvaka, right? I don't think that you could claim that as Hinduism just because it came out of India, okay? But this is from the Vedas, this is from the scripture, so it's definitely part of Hinduism, okay? So I wouldn't deny, I will give you that. This is Hinduism, okay? And I would also give you that this is promoting skepticism. And I like skepticism, and you like skepticism, okay? But let's talk about another value that would both of us like, okay? Freedom of expression. I like freedom of expression, right? You also like freedom of expression, okay? What if I told you that there's a leprechaun who lives in my underwear drawer, okay? There's a leprechaun, right, that lives in my closet, okay? And the reason why I like freedom of expression is because I really trust this leprechaun. And this leprechaun believes in the freedom of expression. And that's why I believe in freedom of expression. Do you like that? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
that's kind of like really um, low or not strong enough reason to believe in freedom of expression. That's not a
Oh
strong
yeah,
reason to believe in freedom of expression.
perfect, perfect. So based on the same, and it's actually kind of dangerous because maybe we got lucky. We got lucky that I, based on this really flawed methodology to come up with values, it just so happens that I believe in freedom of expression because this leprechaun believes it. But what if the leprechaun tomorrow came and told me to murder my parents? Right now, all of a sudden we have a problem. Like, maybe you shouldn't congratulate me because I believe in freedom of expression because of this leprechaun, because the methodology is like a flawed methodology. Maybe you should encourage me to actually believe in freedom of expression because of the results that it produces and makes people, based on the data that we have, that it makes societies run better. So you're like, Armin, maybe that's not a good way to come up to this conclusion, right? And based on the same criteria, do you think, like, if somebody believes in skepticism because they read it in the Vedas, do you think that's a good good methodology, good process to come up, that just so happens in this scenario for them to come to the right conclusion of, like, we know skepticism is good, but do you like the process that somebody came to this conclusion based on the Vedas?
Yeah, if someone wakes up and says that, you know what, I don't like skepticism, but it is written in Vedas, or I like skepticism and it is written in Vedas, that's I'm going to follow it. But then if it comes at a crossroads, let's say don't be skeptical and you like skepticism, then what will you do if you want to still remain consistent with Vedas? That's a problem. That's a dilemma. That's a religious dilemma. Dharam Sankat.
Wait,
Yeah,
can you explain
right?
it? Sorry, you got cut a little bit. Can you repeat again? What do you mean? Elaborate.
So
Yeah.
let's say you like to just elaborate on what you said. Let's say you like skepticism, but
Hmm.
in an let's imagine a hypothesis that Rigveda says don't be skeptical. So Now you think now I want to be religious, but Vedas says don't be religious.
Okay.
Like says don't
Right.
be skeptic. Says
Skeptic.
don't be
Okay.
skeptic. And now I'm at a crossroad. I say
Right.
I want to be, but this says no.
So what do you do? So what do you
So
do then?
I say then the problem would yeah. So the problem would come if Vedas are coming again comprehensive reading, not just cherry picking good and bad parts. Vedas are coming with dogma. If they do, then there's a problem. As you said, dharma is the way, is the life. Then that's just one thing to do. No other thing. This is the only way.
Right.
Anything else, right? Problem. That's a problem. I say, if you go back to Nasadiya Sukta, please, there is the seventh hymn,
Wait.
sixth and
Okay. No.
seventh.
Like,
If you could read that out.
can we go back to this? Okay. So
Yeah.
how do you decide which part of the Vedas are dogmatic and not good to follow, and which one of them is good and a good teaching that you're supposed to follow? How do you decide that? What metric do you use?
Based on your own moral compass, not from the
Okay, so
Vedas.
what's the point of the Vedas?
If you just find that fascinating, if you find that something is good in it, and it is not coming as a dogma that you follow each and everything within it, then I don't have a problem with that book. I don't
Okay,
even
so
have
the
a problem with
Vedas, so
other.
they, mhm. So you just agreed.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. There's a connection issue. That's why there's a delay. Sorry about that. So you just agreed that the Vedas themselves do not contribute in your metric. It's not a metric that you use to see which values you choose just to uphold and which ones you don't. Okay, you use different
Mhm.
metrics, and then if it's in the Vedas themselves, you're like, oh, like cool, this is in the Vedas, and if it's not, and if it goes against the Vedas, you're like, oh no, I don't like this part. Okay, so,
Yeah,
but
reject.
you also know you reject it, good, but you also know that there's a whole bunch of other group of people that use these Vedas as follow it dogmatically and give it authority and legitimacy as a divine source of inspiration and books that should be used as moral teachings, and you don't agree with that, but you know that, right? So given that your moral
Mhm.
standards don't come from this scripture, why would you venerate, why would you give authority and legitimacy to a text that you don't use as a metric for coming up with your value system, but you know that giving it legitimacy and authority is giving those people that do use it in that way more, it makes it more powerful and more of puts it in a higher position to be misused that way. Why didn't you be like, this is just? Why don't you just treat this scripture as just your source of entertainment or curiosity, without putting it on a pedestal as if this has anything to do with moral teach as a legitimate source of moral teachings?
The only reason is that it can be changed, and it already has. That's why.
But why do
So
you need
it is
to?
kind of like,
Hmm. Sorry.
yeah, because
Go on.
it's like going to read any philosophical book, any philosophical, like from Greek or philosophers in ancient Hindu philosophers, whatever. If you don't like it, you reject that. You cherry pick whatever you like. You make that. So if it comes with said with a background notion that it is divine and you must follow it, then that's a problem. But if it comes with a baggage like there are problematic things in it, and if you don't like it, you change it. And it is not me saying it. So just one last thing. Arya Samaj has already their own different version of Vedas, and it is not like the words are same. Completely changed those. If you read them side by side, it's like are these the same books? So they changed Vedas, and I say, why do only they have the rights to change Vedas? I change it even further. But then the question comes, then do the Vedas remain Vedas if they get changed? And I'm just saying, it does not have to be fixed. We never had a problem with them being fixed. We never had a problem with them considering them revelation or commandments. Even though Vedas are considered to be apurushaya, that is, they are considered to be divine revelation, not written by any human being, but from gods themselves. I know that. I know
Right.
that. I'm not saying I don't. But they are not coming with the same kind of dogmatism we find from other religions. So I would not. It's like same thing. Kushal Mehra says, if there is one is cancer and one is common cold, I'm not going to take chemotherapy. Sorry.
Right, right. Okay, so just because it's not as dogmatic as other religions, that doesn't mean it's not dogmatic. If you claim that it has divine revelation, it comes from a divine source, that's dogmatic. Okay, that's already becoming an excuse to make it dogmatic, right?
Just
The fact that
one thing.
go on, go on.
Can you go and please check number sixth and seventh hymn of that. It is kind of like divided in seven.
I
Just
will.
sixth and seventh.
Can I just say this before I forget?
Okay, okay.
All right. It's not at all like other philosophical school of thoughts, right? Like other books of philosophy, okay? Just written by that people understand that is written by humans, okay? When you look at other philosophers coming up with their ideas and you study it, it's completely different from what you describe. You said that you're not using the Vedas as a measure of what is as a metric of what is right and what is wrong. You're using other sources, and then you're reading the Vedas, and if it agrees with you, it does. It agrees with you, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Okay. When you actually read philosophers and other thinkers' work, is actually for you. You're using it as a metric. You're using it as a way to reshape your understanding of the world, right? If I'm studying a philosopher, I'm not just, they're used as a way for you for you to reshape your understanding of how the world, how to do logic and how to analyze things, okay? So they are being used as metric, and rightfully so, because using logic and using logical fallacies, using reason as a way to analyze the world makes sense. Using divine revelation and ancient scripture doesn't make sense, okay? So it's not like other, right, okay? And also, when you're studying other philosophers, it comes with the understanding that this is not divine revelation, so it's less there's less of a danger of it becoming dogmatic, because you understand this is written by flawed human beings, and you apply more skepticism to scripture that is under that people that a huge portion of the population understand as divine revelation. If I say, hey, like I like so and so philosopher, right? I'm not promoting dogmatic, I'm not giving authority or legitimacy to any work that a whole bunch of people consider divine revelation. I'm not adding to the problem, right? So for example, if I say I like reading the Quran, which I do, okay, in a certain way, or the Bible in a certain way, I make it very clear I like reading it as fiction. I like reading it as fiction. I do not use it as a guide to life. Okay? And I think they're both horrible books as guide to life, right? And I think by saying that, I'm not giving the Bible or the Quran. If I say I like reading it as fiction, I'm not adding to the problem. I'm not giving these books that are a source of dogma, which a huge portion of the population see as divine revelation. I'm not giving it more authority and legitimacy than they deserve. But I think you're doing that, even though you don't believe this is divine revelation, by putting it on a high pedestal as if there's any valuable philosophy coming out of this, as if this could be used as a guide to life. Knowing that a lot of people see this as divine inspiration, you're adding to the problem, I think.